right, welcome to Teaching Crypto. This is AZcrypto with Mr. FOMO. Hey, everybody. Please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe and that bell for notifications when we go live. We would love some new subscribers. It really helps us out. Mr. FOMO, as if we weren't angry enough, just a day ago, it came official that Celsius, who is in bankruptcy themselves and has a leader that, honestly, the more you look at it, should be charged with fraud, trying to do a clawback, $7.7 million against Voyager, saying Voyager should give them $7.7 million. This is absolute lunacy, and this got me angry. No, I don't think it's going to happen. Voyager officially said they have no assets with Celsius. This all the way back June 14th, they came out with that statement. What's going on here? Is this just absurd? Is this just Celsius doing all they can and trying to deflect all the stupidity and idiocy they've been going through?
Well, I mean,
they've been stupid. They've been saying Alex, who is a complete fraud, came on Twitter and saying we should try to go after all our money with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. It's like, oh my God, this guy is insane. Sadly, there are people in the cryptoverse that are still supporting this guy, and now he wants $7.7 million from Voyager. How absurd and asinine is this?
My question is who represents Celsius and who represents Voyager? Isn't it the same firm? Aren't we dealing with the same people here? So how are we getting tied up here in this clawback thing when we have the lawyers from the same firm? This seems, when you really take a broader look at it, it looks like another ploy just to keep this going and to keep everybody tied up in this a little bit longer so that they can get paid. But it's absurd that they would be even after that small amount from Voyager. But I guess, I mean, if you're going to go after your money, go after your money.
Well, Kirkland and Ellis suck. I really hope they have a horrible Christmas and holiday season and a horrible New Year to you, Kirkland and Ellis, because all you're doing is dragging it out. And it's bad enough that you're dragging it out, but now you're playing games with Celsius. Forget about that. Yeah, I agree, Ant. Ant said it best. These guys are just jackasses. Just awful. I mean, forget about crypto. They're jackasses in all worlds. And I gotta call out the judge here. No announcements, no dates. It's been weeks. Come on, judge. Let's go. Let's talk about what's going to happen in January. UCC kind of came out today and said we're still working. They kind of not enough. They didn't set a date for a Twitter space or an AMA, but they said we really have nothing to share. It's like same old. And I hate to say I was right, but I did warn everyone we might not hear anything till January, and it's December 15th. And I'm thinking that's the path we're going towards. Hopefully early January. Hopefully they don't take too long of a vacation, right? Maybe we'll hear back from them before Martin Luther King Day. Maybe.
Nobody's buckling up their bootstraps.
We're in bankruptcy, guys. No rush. People can't take vacations because of you. And I know I don't want to hear, oh, you don't invest more than you need to. No one expected to have their USDC tied up for months and months on end. No one signed up for that. Nobody. So please spare me with, oh, you shouldn't have had your money on the platform. All right, we're way beyond that. And I think that's part of the problem I have with crypto is people that are in Ledger and not on exchanges, putting people down that were. Listen, a lot of people were using these exchanges, and for mainstream. For crypto to really take off and have an amazing bull run, it's not going to be all through Ledger. I got to tell you, whether you like it or not, there is a place for Ledger and cold storage, absolutely. But if you think that's the way this industry is going to skyrocket and we're going to go back to record-breaking prices, that ain't it. You're not going to get millions and millions of people to get Ledgers in the next
especially
months.
The regulation that seems to be coming down the pipeline, especially if you listen to people like Gary Gensler, is that they're going to stop companies from being able to commingle. And so what that will stop is companies from being able to act as exchanges and custodies. So Ledger won't be able to have its ability if he has his way, if Gensler has his way. It won't have the ability to have just go out in the open market and purchase and then custody on the wallet. They will have to go through an exchange that only acts as an exchange in order to give you that crypto. So if those regulations come down, and it looks more and more, the more these companies mess up and the more, we have this infighting in crypto, the more they will tighten that regulation, the more ugly it will be, and the more limited it will be for us in the future.
All right, now it's time to turn our attention to some Binance FUD. And I said, if you had funds on Binance US, even though it's not a complete direct connection to Binance, there's no point in risking it. And some people I know out there, they love Binance, and hey, they're the big player. I get it, but guys, no risk. The risk is so high here. Let's be honest with the audience. Binance does kind of control Trust Wallet, so it kind of makes things murky. I was checking out Trust Wallet the other day, and they had some new features. We'll go over some APRs that I think are absolutely crazy. Kind of was a red flag to me, to be honest. They have a token that right now has over 100% APR, which is
179%.
129. 129.
Oh, was that? Oh, I thought it was 179. I need to get glasses.
Yeah, but I'll have to do some research on that. I don't want to go in too deep tonight because I want to sound educated about it. But there's been some Binance FUD. A lot of rumors of wire fraud. Again, the U.S. government being involved. Supposedly they had an audit, and they're kind of lukewarm about sharing all the 100% results. I've always been lukewarm because of the stable coin. I don't like people trying to create their own stable coin. I really think unless it's USDC, again, I'm not a huge Tether guy. I think until that's being completely audited, I'd be weary. If you hold a lot of Tether, I'd be careful.
That's more to what Gary Gensler was speaking about, is that commingling, right? He's got an exchange, but he also has this, this basically a CBDC, right? He's got his own. Oh, there you go again. He's got his own, stable coin, and that, like FTX, it allows him to mint whatever he wants, pay in that stable coin, and that's a problem. And so when, I think you're basically agreeing with Gensler there, is you don't want him to be able to have his own stable coin and run an exchange or run a lending, platform.
I think stable coins need to be audited, so the customers have assurance that they're actually backed one-to-one. If he's going to have it, great. Let's audit. Let's make sure it's the real deal, and let's make sure we don't have the same situation we've had before.
Well, they did go through an audit, but the problem with the audit is that it was just a proof of reserve versus a proof of liability, and it didn't go into all the different holdings that they have, and there was a lot that was left out. And so there's a lot of people are saying a lot of different things about it. It could be a fraudulent audit. It could be this. It could be that. It's proof of reserves. It was done by Mazars. It's, they're a globally recognized auditing firm. So they at least did the proof of reserve versus the proof of liability. So I don't think that necessarily those numbers are wrong, but there was a lot of stuff that was left out, to my understanding. And so that would be the problem in the end, is that there's still stuff outstanding from that report.
Great question. We keep getting this asked. Do we honestly think there'll be a buyout or liquidation? Well, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't. Liquidation, it might have been the fastest path. The problem with liquidation is you got to transition to liquidation, and knowing these lawyers, they won't make it fast. So the last thing we know is Voyager said if they were by themselves, all they could give us back would be 50 to 60%. Okay, that was their latest standalone offer, if there was a standalone offer. So I'm going to estimate that if there's a liquidation, you're looking at between 50 and 60%. Sadly, closer probably to 50%. So I would like a buyer to get us closer to 70, 72, which we kind of had with FTX US, but I'm getting less and less optimistic as time goes on. We'll see what January brings, but we don't want to sugarcoat it for you guys. This is not ideal by any means at all. Hopefully we get some news in January and we can kind of get an idea where this is going. But right now, we're as much in the dark as MrFOMO's background. We completely have no idea where we're going. It looks, honestly, looks like someone's going to kill MrFOMO and come out of nowhere.
It's looking like a floating head, right?
Yeah.
Let me lift up my shirt so you can see that I'm not just a...
Last
A
Last
digital
question,
rendering.
Mr. FOMO. A lot of people ask me this. Is it a good time to buy ETH and Bitcoin? We've been telling you guys we're still in a bear now. Bitcoin is around 17K. We did go all the way back to 15K not too long ago. And Ethereum is kind of right now around 1,200. I say yes, but remember DCA. And can you remind our viewers what DCA means? Because we've been using that. We've got some new viewers that may not be aware. What does DCA mean?
Dollar cost averaging. It just means you're putting it a little bit here and there rather than putting it all in one lump sum. And that's a terrible, to put it all in at one time in one place is kind of a terrible idea, not financial advice. But it would be kind of a terrible idea just to dump all of your funds into one spot. But DCAing allows you to catch the best prices, or catch better prices at different times during dips, or allows you to profit when the market runs a little bit, and then you can put that money back in when it dipped again.
Yeah, so we're both confident that BTC will get above 20K sometime in 2023. I'm also confident that ETH will get well above 1,200. Now, we're not calling for a 5,010K ETH. That's much, much later on.
Well,
But yeah, now it's
DCAing,
fine as long as you're DCAing and not going all in. Going all in right now, it's just way too early to have that type of mindset because we're nowhere near close to the halving in the second quarter of 24. We've still got bad economic news coming. You see what the regular stock market did. Bled today. Talk about more interest rates. So you just got to be patient.
In Europe, you've got the cold weather months are coming. They are being cut off from Russian gas. There will be problems there. People aren't going to be buying crypto during those months. You know what I mean? They're going to be looking for ways to heat their homes.
Still, the good news is some great entry prices. We'll talk more and more about those tokens. Sure. If you haven't looked at eGold and you haven't looked at Avalanche recently, take a good look. Cosmos, besides obviously even BTC, be careful with Binance token, BNB. It is a dangerous play right now a little bit with the volatility, but keep it here. We will keep you.
AZ, before we get going, I want to force you to hang on a little bit longer and talk about SBF and his rat-infested prison. What do you think about the antics that have gone on? I mean, you in the Bahamian court. Oh, he dropped. in the Bahamian court, his parents were plugging their ears and laughing when he was being called a fugitive. He had to leave the room to put on his antidepressant patch. He says he's too vegan and sad to be in jail. Hours before that, he does a Forbes interview with a guy named Stephen Ehrlich, not the same Stephen Ehrlich that we all know and hate, but a Stephen Ehrlich with a V, not a PH. And he said again that he only had $100,000 in his bank account, but in that court hearing, he offered up $250,000 cash bail.
What do you know?
Would you, knowing what you know now, do you think it would have been a better idea to let him have his little speech in front of the Senate, get on the record, and then indict and arrest him? Or do you think you pull that trigger when they did, get him in jail? You don't give him a bully pulpit. You don't give him a platform.
He's a criminal. Let's gain as much information as we can about him, but he belongs in jail. But again, I'm not convinced.
But you're against giving him that platform.
I just want to make this clear. I'm not convinced that Alex Masinski does not belong in jail. Stephen Ehrlich, I still have a ton of questions, buddy. A ton of questions. I know you have not been charged with fraud, but you were not honest to the customers. And so even though Stephen didn't quote,
there is a class action lawsuit against them, kind of.
Yeah. But listen, fraud. Customers got screwed, and we're still waiting to be treated fairly, and that hasn't happened. And out of all three guys, guess who is still taking a full paycheck? And I don't want to hear, well, he has to do it for the company to keep running. People underneath him will still work, whether he's not
pro bono
a full paycheck. Yeah, give me a break.
It's called working pro
Steve,
bono.
As always, you suck, Steve.
He made $30 million last year just off his crypto. You can work pro bono. You don't have to take a check in order to make the company look like a real company. We're getting closer to the holidays. Let's hope for some good news next week. Maybe the judge will be nice and drop us a little hint as to what's going to happen in January. But for Mr. FOMO, this is AZcrypto. Thanks for joining us. Hit that subscribe. Hit that like button. See you later, guys. Have a great night. See you.